What does it mean to live more with less? I'm Katie Wells, and welcome to the Maximized Minimalist Podcast. If you found yourself caught up in the hamster wheel of modern-day motherhood and want to rewrite the script, congratulations, you're in the right place. I'm here to be your guide and help you take back your motherhood and achieve a simpler, more joy-filled life. Cheers to being a maximized minimalist. Enjoy the show. Happy holidays, Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, like all of the things. My friend, I hope your celebrations have been joyful, just filled with love. So today I want to keep things short and sweet because I know it's a busy time, but with the new year just around the corner, I want to share by far my favorite simple, stress-free way to reset your home and also your mind for 2025. And stick around because I have an exciting announcement. My Inner Circle coaching program is officially open for application. So if you've been waiting for personalized support to clear the clutter and create a home that you love, like this is your moment. The time is now. You can click the link in the show notes. If you're like, I need more, go ahead and do that now. Stop this episode, come back to it. And in the meantime, let's dive into how you can start fresh this January. So I'm not going to lie, after the holidays, I think even my home more than normal and a lot of homes can feel a little fuller, right? Whether it's like leftover decorations, it's gifts that don't have a home yet, or it's just a general like schedule busyness and mental busyness of the season. Sometimes it can feel like there's no or less space to breathe. And this is where resets come in. If you've been with me for a while, you've heard me banging my daily reset drum for a long time, okay? But I promise, even if you're already doing these resets, to stick with me because there are some other things we can do to make them more effective and powerful. So if you're new here, a daily reset is a quick, intentional, tidy up session that brings a space back to its feel-good baseline state. And here's why this is such a great starting point. If we can't get the normal everyday mess under control, it is darn near impossible to focus on the bigger decluttering projects, right? Like deciding what to keep and what to let go of. But resets don't just help you stay ahead of the mess and maintain the mess. They also help you identify clutter. Because when you reset a space consistently, and those who do this already have experienced this, including myself, you also start to notice the things that just don't belong anymore. Like maybe it's a pile of magazines you haven't touched in months, or that random gadget on the counter that you got on Amazon Prime Day a few months ago. You're like, I'm going to use this all the time, but it's truly like it's gathering dust, right? We've all done it. No shame, no judgment. That reset gives you clarity and gives an opportunity to do a quick clutter audit. Like, hey, you know what? I don't need that kitchen gadget. Didn't work, or I don't like it, or I use this other thing instead, and move on. And by doing these resets and tackling the mess, the normal expected mess that when we do invest more time into decluttering, you already know where to start because the mess is out. So you've already cleared some of the slate. And from a brain perspective, it's going to be a heck of a lot easier to make decisions, to prioritize, to do all the things it takes to declutter. That whole process, it's going to be so much easier to do when the mess is taken care of. Resets are so empowering. I can't even begin to describe. Like they give you this sense of control when things feel chaotic. And even if your home doesn't look perfect, or if the reset doesn't even get completely done, they're the first step toward creating a home that really supports you and your life and your family. And in my opinion, they set the stage for bigger wins down the road come January or February when you're like, all right, Katie, I'm really rolling up my sleeves. I gotta tackle that clutter. So one of my students, Brooke, I have to share this with you. She told me she couldn't even think about her goals for the new year because her house just felt so chaotic after the holidays. She's like, all right, I got my planner for the new year. I want to start goal setting. But every time I sit down, I feel like overwhelmed. I can't even think. And then she's like, and I look around my house and no wonder there's stuff and clutter and mess everywhere. So I said, all right, take 15 minutes, reset your kitchen space, because that's where she was doing her planning at her kitchen table. Clear off your kitchen table, do a reset. And she's like, Katie, it was like a weight lifted off my shoulders. And suddenly, guess what? She could think clearly. She could do her goal setting. She could sit down and like focus on what matters. And that is just one beautiful side effect of these resets. They're not about achieving perfection. They're about creating a space that feels manageable and welcoming and calmer so you can do what you want to do to begin with. And the best part is they're quick. For a lot of my students, they take less than 10 minutes. The more consistent you are with them and the less clutter you have, of course, the quicker they go. Sometimes they take 2 minutes, right? And they tend to have this really incredible ripple effect, not just on your home, but as I said earlier, these are resets for your mind. Our outer environments influence our inner environments. They are intricately connected. So don't underestimate these resets. So let's talk about how to make them work for you. Again, just to be clear, resets aren't deep cleaning. They're not spending hours tidying up or decluttering. These are small intentional actions that create a big impact. So here are 3 simple strategies. So whether you're doing resets, make sure you're doing these 3 things. If you aren't doing resets, just follow this protocol, right? I promise this will make everything easier, including decluttering in the new year, like we talked about. Number 1 is to identify your reset zones. So you might be thinking, Katie, I have mess all over my house. The living room's a disaster, the kitchen, the entryway, where do I start? So think about the areas in your home where mess builds up the fastest, or maybe you already know that as you're looking around listening to this episode, and that it has the biggest impact on how you feel. So maybe it's the entryway that the second you walk through the threshold of your door, you immediately feel overwhelmed, triggered, angry, like you're turning full She-Hulk. That's how I used to describe myself when I walked into my house. I was like happy-go-lucky mom outside of the house while running errands and at the playground or even in the front yard. And then I'd walk through my front door and immediately be like, oh no, mommy ain't happy, right? Or maybe it's the kitchen counter that's become the catch-all, or the living room where everyone gathers. These tend to be, the gathering hubs where more mess happens, which makes sense, right? These are what you're going to identify as your reset zones. Now start small, even if you go, well, ultimately I would like to do resets in this, and this, but start small and start with 1, right? This is the way we do things as simplifiers, because otherwise you're going to what? You're going to burn out. Start small, choose 1, maybe 2 spaces to focus on. If you're already doing consistent resets in spaces, pick a new reset zone for all my people who've been doing this for some time with me. You don't have to tackle your whole house at once to see results. Just think about that example of Brooke, who cleared off, reset her kitchen table, immediately felt a weight off her shoulders. So for me, the kitchen counter is one of my main reset zones. It is for a lot of us, right? It's where everything seems to land: mail, cups, random school papers. My kids were at the dentist the other day and came home with a bouncy ball and these little fidget toys, and boop, they land on the counter. So when I reset it, or we reset it at the end of the day, it makes the whole kitchen, if that stuff gets put away, we create a home for it, or we declutter it, and it instantly makes the whole kitchen feel calmer and more inviting. And guess what that does to me? I'm a lot happier. So number 1, pick your reset zone or zones that you want to add in. Number 2, decide how often to reset each zone. Not every space needs the same level of attention. High traffic areas like the kitchen, living room, entryway typically benefit from daily or even multiple resets a day. Meanwhile, less used spaces like your guest room or home office or your bedroom or your nightstand or your closet might only need weekly resets. I do a weekly reset on Sundays, typically in my walk-in closet and also on my nightstand. So the key is to match the resets to the rhythm of your home. So here's some examples that hopefully create a little inspiration. The kitchen counter collects clutter after meals. So maybe you decide, I'm going to reset it after breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Right? We are integrating these into the natural rhythm of your day. We'll talk more about that in step 3 here. Or maybe the living room feels chaotic at the end of the day and it's overwhelming and I just can't stand looking at it. So I decide that we as a family are going to reset it before we go upstairs to start our bedtime routine. Again, entryway, another common expected mess hotspot. It can get crazy with shoes and bags. Same here. That's the thing. Some people think, oh, well, it must be nice to be you, Katie. You're an expert. Hello, me and my family aren't perfect. We plop stuff down where it doesn't belong. We have chaotic days too. Doing these resets gives you permission to not be perfect. And it also helps ease your brain knowing that there is a plan in place and a time in place when you're going to handle that. And that gives you so much mental freedom from the mess, because the mess is constant. It's cyclical, right? You clear it and it comes back. So for me, in a mental way, this has given me so much peace and ease and comfort. So think about your spaces, your routines, and decide how often each reset zone needs attention to stay manageable. My best recommendation, start with just 1. Maybe ends up needing 2 or 3, but just start with 1. You got to start somewhere. And number 3, anchor resets to your daily routines. This is where people can kind of get like, well, how do I do this without making it feel like this whole drudgery habit that I'm supposed to be doing, right? I felt like that listening to experts in other fields, like, okay, you need to do these 3 things. And I'm like, but how? Like, it feels so overwhelming. And so to build consistency, which is key with resets and most things in life, right? Tie your resets to routines you already have in place. And these anchor points make the resets feel natural and not just like another to-do task on your list that you never seem to get to, right? So here's some examples. I recommend to reset the kitchen right after dinner as part of your evening routine. A lot of us already do this. So what you're doing is you're taking the same philosophy and applying it towards these other locations in your home. Tidy the living room before going to bed. This way you wake up to a calm, inviting space. Or maybe you need to do a quick reset when you transition from work to dinner or before the kids' bedtime. I remember having Kaylee Kukla. She's a dear friend of mine and parenting expert. She was on the show. She's been on the show many times. And she always shares that she learned that she needed to do a quick kitchen reset after school, like the post-school tornado. The kids come home, the backpacks, the lunchboxes, the water bottles, the homework, everything lands. And she was trying to cook dinner with all of the stuff on her counters. And she's like, no, wait a second. This is so stressful. I'm working around this stuff. She felt her anxiety and stress go up. So what she said was, I just decided to do a quick, it took her 5, maybe 10 minutes. I reset that space. And then I have the physical space that I logistically need to do all the cooking and baking and everything for dinner. But it did so much for her mind. It calmed her mind. So she went into dinner making with a better attitude. And it happened, this is what I'm talking about. It happens to us all. So the key here is when resets are anchored to predictable parts of your day, whether you get home tonight at 7 p.m. later than normal because the kids have soccer practice, or 5 o'clock the next day, when they are integrated into these parts of your day, they start to feel automatic. And that's what a habit is. It's something that's automatic. It's like the shortcut your brain takes because it feels easy. This is how resets, before my students know it, they're like, oh yeah, it's just part of my day. I don't have to think about it anymore. And you're not adding more to your plate, right? You're simplifying and you're creating a rhythm that works for you. And this is ultimately this is where the rubber meets the road and beautiful transformations start to happen. And remember, resets aren't just about putting expected mess back where it belongs. They're about giving yourself that clarity. And when you reset a space regularly, you start to notice patterns, right? That maybe you have a pile of unread magazines, or maybe there's a coat that no one has worn in years. And as you're hanging the coats up that people do wear, that's an opportunity. Again, clutter. So clutter audits can simply, easily, and should be, I don't like saying should, but I don't know what other word I should use, but we're here for it. They can be integrated into these resets. These are opportunities. I don't need to put clutter back where it belongs. I need to let go of clutter, and you can integrate these micro declutter sessions. I call them clutter audits into these resets. And resets help you really shine a spotlight on items so you can make better decisions. All right, it's a beautiful thing. So now that you have a solid understanding of how to implement resets in your home, I promise you, and I hope you do, come back and listen to this episode time and time again. But if nothing else, if you start with a reset today and keep doing them, when January, February rolls around or whenever in the future, you'll be able to much more easily tackle that clutter. And this is truly a foundation to a home that serves you and works hard for you. So back to that news I wanted to share earlier. I have some exciting news. Applications are officially open for my Inner Circle one-on-one and small group coaching program. If you've been listening for a while and thinking, I just need more help applying these strategies to my unique home or my life, or maybe you're thinking I just do better when I have accountability. This is your chance to get my personalized support. The Inner Circle is my, again, one-on-one coaching group where we work closely together to tackle clutter step by step, overcome a lot of roadblocks that have been keeping you stuck, and create systems that truly stick. So we kick off on January 6th. And I have over 250 people on my wait list, but only 20 spots available. So spots are super limited because it's one-on-one. And if you've been waiting for the right moment, I really want to encourage you to apply. I'll let you know if we're a good fit, and then we can be off to the races come January. You can head to katiejoywells.com/inner circle to apply now. Applications close on January 31st or as soon as spots are filled. Don't wait. These spots will go fast. Whether you're resetting your home, your mind, or really both, remember this: small steps create big changes. There will be times where you will think, oh, what's the point? A reset isn't going to make a difference. It's not going to move the needle enough. I need to dedicate 18 billion hours to my home to fix it. It's not true. You don't have to do it all at once. I recommend you not do it all at once. And also, you're not alone in this process. I'm here. This community is here to help you every step of the way, whether that's through the show, the podcast, or working more closely in my Inner Circle coaching group. So thank you for letting me a part of your holiday season, your 2024. And I hope you have a joyful rest of your holiday season. And next week, we'll be back. New Year's Day. Let's go, baby. It is time to go. If you are looking for a little inspiration for the new year when it comes to decluttering and simplifying, you know where to be. Every Wednesday, I'm here. So Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, Happy New Year, all that good stuff. I will see you next week. Ready, set, simplify. Bye.